Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith, Silent Bob from all those Jay and Silent Bob type pictures, man. And I'm breaking the silence to tell you that you're listening to the Buff and the Blazer podcast with Drew and El Toddo. Enjoy the show, kids.
Hey, El Toddo.
What's going on?
We got a podcast, The Buff and the Blazer. If I was a listener, where would I go to find more?
You can check us out on our website, thebuffandtheblazer.com. Drew over there writes a article that goes along with every single episode.
You can find all kinds of little extras on the articles, and you can listen to the podcast right there. Also, you can subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, we're on Twitter at Buff and Blazer. Follow us there.
Get those clicks, people.
The Buff and the Blazer.
Welcome to episode 54 of the Buff and the Blazer podcast, the show where we break down and discuss the latest and greatest films at the box office, maybe not at the box office, streaming, old and new. I'm Drew, and as always, I'm here with my buddy, El Toddo.
Happy New Year, dude.
Happy New Year, man, and Happy New Year to all our listeners.
Yeah, fucking A.
Screw you, 2020. We're recording this on January 1st, 2021. And
Yep. Popping a beer to 2021,
cheers.
even though it's a little early in the day.
Nothing wrong with some day drinking on the Buff and the Blazer. It's all good. So this is going to be our award show of the films that we've talked about and discussed in 2020. And we have a bunch of different categories going on. So we can get into what those are before we start diving into our picks. But maybe El Toddo can help us out with some of that.
Yeah, so we each got to choose 5 categories, and we're each going to give an award for our own and each other's. So there'll be 10 awards, and these are categories that we just made up, and they're absolutely nothing like other award shows. They're not geared at – mine are specifically geared towards the viewers type of mentality, not the critics, you know.
You definitely want to see any Oscars
and then we
being
have
handed
some
out.
bonuses. We have a couple of bonuses. We have Best Movie, which is only movies in 2020. And then we have Favorite Movie, which is the whole catalog of all 53 episodes we did this year. And all of the movies we did this year are eligible for the 10 that we chose. So it's not like if something came out before, it's not eligible. There's only one category that is specific to 2020, and that is just Best Movie.
Cool.
But I don't think we should give them away before we go. I think we should just get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. All right, so you know what? I'll throw it to you. Let's start with your category first. We'll do a back and forth.
All right. And we don't, this is in no particular order. We're just going to kind of go for it.
All right.
I want to start with one of my categories, Best Choreographed Fighting.
Best choreographed fighting.
Yeah, and I think it'll be good if the person who didn't make the question answers first.
All right.
So you're right. So we'll alternate the whole time.
Okay, gotcha.
So what is your best choreographed fighting
Okay.
for
So
the
for
53
this
episodes we did?
for this category, we've done a handful of action films with a lot of great sequences. But for me, this wasn't a question. I knew the exact sequence that I wanted to talk about, and it was a no-brainer for me, and it comes from Extraction.
Okay.
And it's the fight scene where Tyler gets taken into the building where he's trying to break out Avi,
Okay.
and he has the burlap sack on his head, and he busts Avi out of the building. And I went back and rewatched it. The fight scene is brutal. It's brutal, and it looks completely realistic. Like, you have him throwing people into the ground on their faces with their necks being hyperextended, knocking dudes into broken, blown open walls, shoving table ends into people's faces. the action is just completely blunt and it's messy and gritty. To me, it's hands down the best choreographed fight sequence out of all the films we've done. But having said that, I do have some honorable mentions in this category.
All right.
So one of the more recent ones we did, Tenet.
Okay.
And Choreographed, I think, is the main key because that film features... I don't even know where they began to choreograph a fight like that because you have some dude fighting in reverse with someone fighting, what is it, in normal time, I guess? Is that the way you'd say it?
In the present?
In the present.
I guess.
We can't even explain it. That's how complicated it is.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
So to do something like that and make it look the way it was, I mean, you got to mention Tenet. And then another fight scene I had to throw in there, which I think might be a shocker, is the end of the film that we did, The Hunt. And that is with Hilary Swank and the main character of the film.
Yeah.
The very end.
Yeah, I know.
That
what
one
you're
was
talking
really
about.
entertaining too, because it's like, again, it's kind of bonkers how gritty it is. Like they're being thrown through walls and smashed into corners of tables and stuff. And I guess for me, I gravitate to action sequences like that are just really brutal. More so than like the cool, like sleek fighting style that you see in a lot of action movies. I just love it when it looks really dirty and messy and like brutal.
Yeah.
So that's why I gravitated towards Extraction. So Extraction gets a golden bucket of popcorn from me.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to agree with you on that because that's what I had in mind when I thought up the category. That fight scene, the way it starts with him with the bag on his head, and it's just so good. You said everything there needs to be said about that. But yeah, that's my golden bong for sure for best choreographed fighting. But my honorable mentions are a little different.
Okay.
So I have Atomic Blonde, the hallway fight
Yes.
that ends in the apartment where they are just completely exhausted and smashing everything they can find over each other.
Yeah.
And then I love that scene so much.
It's a good one.
And then also Anna, the restaurant scene.
Yeah.
So that one, there's quite a bit more gun action going on, but I do really think that scene took a long time to film, right? And it was like really, really precise and choreographed.
I feel like that was their main featured sequence in the whole movie.
Yeah, that was like the gem of the entire movie.
For
so
sure.
I wanted to mention that.
Yeah, I love that.
All
Good
right,
picks.
so we agree.
So we got our first unanimous.
Now, who do we send the golden bong and the golden bucket of popcorn to? Is that
that'd probably have to
Hemsworth
be-
or is it Hargrave?
No, it's not Hemsworth at all. That's Hargrave. That's
Okay.
all Hargrave.
Okay.
And he gets that for Atomic Blonde too.
Well, you can't give out two golden bongs and two golden.
Well, we'll give him a bucket and a bong, and
Well, he gets one of each for
Yeah,
that
yeah.
category.
yeah, Sam Hargrave, man, that dude.
I
knows
can't
his
wait to
action.
see whatever he's doing next.
Yeah, me too. All right, so we'll switch over to one of my categories now.
Yeah.
Okay, mine's gonna go way off the spectrum now from best choreographed fight, and I came up with a little category called the sharpest cheddar cheese.
Okay.
Your favorite part of a movie, all about the cheese. And
Sharpest cheese.
Let's see. So what do you got for your sharpest cheddar cheese?
So in this category, it's kind of like, does that cheese have a negative or a positive connotation?
Right.
So I'll just say who made my list for sharpest cheese.
Okay.
The Hunt.
Uh-huh.
I thought that movie was quite cheesy. The first Wonder Woman
Okay.
with all of what's his name? Steve Trevor's antics.
Yep.
Very cheesy. Star Wars.
Okay.
Super duper cheesy in my opinion.
Uh-huh.
Wonder Woman 84,
All right.
which we just did, which was like ultra cheese, especially on the action side. And then the winner of Sharpest Cheese, the golden bong for Sharpest Cheese, is Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted. Okay.
Because that one, to me, has the most kind of joyful cheese.
Okay, cool.
Because it's extremely over the top and purposefully ridiculous on the cheese side.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's my winner.
Sweet. All right, cool. Bill and Ted's a good one. All right, for me, I looked at this in two different ways. So I was thinking of a film overall, but I also was thinking of specific moment in a movie.
Okay.
And so I kind of have two.
All right.
So I'll start with my movie. So my cheesiest movie, I think, goes to Onward.
Okay.
Because that movie it's a family film, and, it's heartwarming, and the story is really cheesy. And it ends pretty cheesy, but it's the kind of cheese I like in a movie like that. So
Okay.
I'm going to give Sharpest Cheddar to that. But in terms of Sharpest Cheddar moment, there's no question in my mind that it's the moment between Diana and Steve Trevor in Wonder Woman 84.
Which moment?
So the moment where she renounces her wish.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I mean, you can't get around it. That's a super cheesy moment. Like, it's very dramatic. It has the music going, but it's so effective, and it's my favorite scene in the whole film.
Okay.
So again, I almost don't see it as like a negative category. It's just, it is what it is. It's cheddar. It's cheesy, but it's a good kind of cheese. I love my cheese.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of struggled with, right?
Yeah.
Because some stuff I really don't like the cheese, but with Bill and Ted, I absolutely loved it.
Right. So I think it's a positive award for both of us.
So you're gonna split your golden bucket of popcorn in half?
I might do that, but I think I'm just going to give it to Wonder Woman 84 for that
Okay.
moment. I think it deserves it just for that single moment.
Yeah, I don't think Onward deserves any awards.
Yeah.
That movie fucking sucked.
All right, so Wonder Woman 84 and Bill and Ted.
Yep.
All right, sweet.
Okay. My turn, right?
Your turn.
Okay, so I am going to go. We'll kind of stick with this
Okay.
theme that we're the comedy theme we're on, and we'll go the best piss pants comedy, meaning the movie that came the closest or did make you piss your pants because you were laughing so hard.
All right. I'm going to keep this short because I don't want to steal your thunder because I feel like we have the same movie in this category.
It's not even close.
Yeah. I think, is it safe to say that both of us chose Borat?
Borat, man.
Okay. Well, we'll do this. We'll just kind of give a quick rundown of what we liked about the film, I guess. Even though we did a whole podcast on it. Borat, man, there were so many great moments in Borat. There's two that stand out to me, and it's the scene where he gets invited into the home of the two guys before the rally the next day.
Yeah.
And he's like, they're talking about the coronavirus and like Democrats and just all kinds of totally bonkers, relevant shit. I love that moment, and I won't give away another moment, actually, because I think I'm going to use that for another category. But anyways.
Okay.
The whole film, like, it had me rolling, and I had so much fun, and I liked the first film. This one is miles better than the first one, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's so good. But what about you?
I think you might have the interpretation that it's way better because of the topical nature of this one and the timing of it.
It could be, yeah.
It's so on point and so needed to be released when it was released.
Yeah.
And for me, the scene that stands out the most is like the celebration of her menstruation dance. It's just like I was laughing so hard, like almost pissing my pants laughing.
Oh, man.
And I can't even give anything else an honorable mention, even though we did do some funny movies this year.
Yeah.
There's just like satire has so much power. You know, comedy has so much power when it has a lot of meaning behind it relative to the zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it, you know, the cultural moment. So, yeah, Borat all the way. Nothing even close.
All right, sweet. I like that. So that's two films that are unanimous on the Buff and the
Hopefully they're
Blaze.
not all unanimous.
I don't think so. I think we'll start getting into some differences here. All right, so we had a really nice high there. I'm going to bring things down a bit with a wet blanket. So let's just get this one out of the way. But it's a category I had to address, right? I'm talking about biggest letdown.
Yeah. So we did do some stinkers this year.
Yeah, we did.
And when I think of biggest letdown, I think about expectations, right?
Exactly.
So that's what kind of carried all the weight for me. Or I have 5 on my list that made the list for biggest letdown. Legion is on there
Okay.
because that movie was absolutely awful. But I don't know that I had a ton of expectations for it.
Mm-hmm.
I had historical expectations because I'm interested in that time period.
Yeah.
But I couldn't make it the biggest letdown because my personal expectations can't carry weight over what is really expected of a film.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that movie sucked, but it's not the worst. Or it is the worst, but it's not the biggest letdown, I'll say. Tax Collector is on there.
That's a good one, actually.
I really like Shia LaBeouf, and I thought that movie was going to be really cool, and it was just your run-of-the-mill gangster movie. Nothing cool about it, and they sold way too much of LaBeouf in the trailer and the poster for how much he's in the movie. Pet Sematary was on there
That's another good one.
because I have some really cherished memories about how good the original was, and that movie really made me rethink how good that I hold some of these 80s horror movies up in my head, 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
So I was pretty disappointed in that. One we just did recently, Wander.
Yeah.
The cast in that movie had me really excited, and that movie sucked. No two ways about it. And the winner
Drum
of
roll.
biggest letdown for the Golden Bong is Capone.
Oh, great one.
I had such high expectations given that cast and given the historical figure that they were making a movie about. And I think you said it best in the podcast, but what was it?
Yeah.
Something about strokes, poops, and carrots.
Yeah. I was trying to remember the saying. I think that's
Yeah. I was so disappointed in that movie. It was the biggest fucking whiff. There's like literally 45 minutes of zoom in on Tom Hardy's face while he's squeezing out a fucking turd. Biggest letdown. They get the Golden Bong. What about you?
Oh, man. All right. That was a good one. It's a good one. Mine's not as dramatic as that, but but it got an honorable mention for sure. My biggest letdown has to be Gretel and Hansel. So that's a movie I saw the trailer for. It looked fantastic. It looked visually it is visually stunning. I loved the actress in the starring role. And I just thought I thought it was going to be a really cool take on, you know, one of the old fairy tale stories you hear about. And it wasn't that at all. It was all visual, no substance. I didn't like the story. I don't even know if I really understood the story. And I was completely bummed out. And before we got on here, you were saying that it was PG-13, so that's like the best indicator it wasn't going to live up.
Dead giveaway,
I mean,
man. Horror movies that are PG-13 suck. There's no two ways around it.
There's something to that for sure, but I thought it would at least be better than it was, and I was completely disappointed because I wanted it to be good. And I had to mention Capone because,
Yeah.
I mean, everything you just said. Capone was on there, and you mentioned Wander, so Wander was on there for me just because of the cast. And then I'm also going to mention The Other Lamb. I don't know if you remember that movie we did.
Yeah.
That was another one of these, like, visually cool-looking movies that looked like it could be a deep dive into something dark and weird, which I guess it's dark in some ways, but the story is just boring.
A lot of face zoom-ins on that one,
Yeah,
too.
you get a lot of, like, weird zooms and stuff in movies like that, and I don't know. Anytime they did that, it took me out of it. It was boring. I didn't enjoy the story. I didn't think it was all that interesting, and again, that's another stinker, but yeah, this golden bucket goes to Gretel and Hansel for sure. I wanted it to do better, and it let me down.
I had thought about The Other Lamb for this category, but I didn't have any expectations for it. I don't think I knew one of the actors in that movie.
Yeah.
It was kind of an obscure one. I tend to not have high expectations for these obscure kind of indie films.
Yeah, I get you. That's fair. All right, moving on.
Okay. We already did that one. I'm going to save the other one I have on this sheet because I don't know the winner yet.
Right.
All right. What is one of mine? I want to save that one too, but I only got a couple left. Okay, let's go best satirical moment.
Best satirical moment. Okay.
And this could be, it's a bit of a interpretation-based question. It could be a movie, a whole movie that's a satire, or it could be a single moment
Yeah.
in a movie. What you got?
All right. So I took it as an entire movie.
Okay.
But I also have one that has a scene.
Okay.
So in terms of movie, I don't think you can talk about this category without mentioning Irresistible. Irresistible to me was a film that was very timely. And I think it was a film even we needed at the time we did it. It was just kind of like a breath of fresh air, like let the wind out of all this bullshit going on. And it was something nice to see. And I think I particularly liked how it addressed all of the just batshit crazy political situation here, at least where we live. And what it did was it gave us a story that was funny, and it didn't take a side, which I really liked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think hands down for me, it gets the golden popcorn. And then the moment I'm talking about is in Borat.
Okay.
And it's where he walks into the synagogue to talk to the two Jewish ladies.
Okay.
And he's dressed up in the most stereotypical, like, outlandish Jewish garb you can think of.
Yeah, and he's got all, like, the horns and the fucking shit
Yeah,
on
and
his
like
face.
Pinocchio nose. It's like, it's awful. But what I love about it is at the end he's like hugging them, and it's a really nice moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, that for satirical moment, I guess it goes to Borat. But those are my two right there.
Okay, so I'll just give mine away. I did it as well because of I did Irresistible
Okay.
as just in terms of like highlighting how fucked up the information getting to people is
Yeah.
in this country right now with the whole media situation. I really enjoyed how they took the time to focus in on all the people working behind the scenes on all of these
Yeah.
political shows on both sides of the networks, and how it's all just kind of like a game to them, and it's needed to be released. Jon Stewart's a fucking genius, and yeah, they get the golden bong. Borat is definitely on my honorable mentions for sure for the whole movie. You know, it's so good. The hacking that he's figured out, the foreign hack, is just genius. And then I also had on here an American Pickle
Oh yeah.
for how they kind of portray the Brooklyn hipster life. And then I also had Jojo Rabbit on here for how they portray like particularly with what's his name's character. Oh, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank.
Well, we got time.
Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell's character.
Yeah, Sam Rockwell's character at the camp.
Yeah. He
At the
Captain
little,
Klenzendorf.
Yeah, at the Nazi youth kind of training facility.
Yeah.
Those are my honorable mentions. But Irresistible is the winner.
Yeah, and it's the winner for me too. We got another unanimous one.
All right.
Let's move down our list here. Let's go with a technical award here. I have best shot in a film.
Okay.
So our whole catalog. No pressure.
I had a lot of trouble with this.
Yeah, this is a tough one. It's very specific.
I had a lot of trouble with this category because there's a specific movie that has basically like the same shooting style the whole movie, which I enjoyed a lot. And then there's some really technical stuff that involves CG in another movie.
Okay.
And then I have like the most tense emotional moment in a movie. And then I have like an epic long cut fight scene too. So I had a really hard time with this one. But I have, okay, so this is what's on my list.
I saw it as like shot or sequence.
Yeah. So I had a hard time with it, but this is what's on my list. Extraction, the really long cut slum fight scene that ends with him fighting the special forces guy in the street and like them falling out of the building and stuff.
Yep.
I love that scene. And I loved how they put the cuts right on his back. Do you
Yeah,
remember what
I
I'm talking
remember
about? Like when he
exactly.
would cross a corner, the camera would like go right up on his back, so it did give the idea of being a really long cut, even though it wasn't.
Yep.
I have Uncut Gems, the final scene when they're locked in the doorway
Okay, yeah,
or
that's a
the
good one.
entryway to the jewelry shop.
For sure.
For how tense and like emotionally stressful that scene is.
Yeah.
I have Tenet, the final battle in Tenet,
Uh-huh.
just because it's so crazy and it's so impressive that there's that many people on screen and going in different directions in time, and the buildings are like blowing up and unblowing up. It's just crazy.
Gotcha. Okay.
But the winner, I have to give the winner, the best shot is 1917 when he wakes up from his coma after he kills the guy in the tower, the sniper.
Yeah.
When he wakes up from that and then runs into town at night when the church is on fire.
Yeah.
And then that kind of scene ends with him getting into the little thing where he meets the girl and the baby.
Yeah, in the basement.
That when he's rolling up on the church on fire, and it's just that booming sound, right?
Yeah.
And then the guy with the gas mask is on the other side of the courtyard and comes running at him and just fires, and
Yeah.
he takes off running down that hallway with all the shadows. That's my best shot for the year. They get the golden bong.
Okay. So it's hard not to even, when you're mentioning best shot of anything, it's hard not to have 1917 on there.
Yeah. That's what when I said that the whole movie is kind of
Yeah.
shot in a way that's great. That's what I was talking about.
I mean, when I came up with the category, I had that movie in mind. And specifically the No Man's Land sequence
okay.
where they're just walking through it and you really get
Yeah.
to see on the ground level like the horror going on around there. But I also like the opening of the movie where he's like taking a nap and then you got them walking for a pretty fair amount of time into the trench to go to headquarters and find out what's going on. But yeah, really the whole film is just like, it's amazing for shooting. But I do have another film with a specific sequence that I absolutely love, and it goes to Dreamland. And I'm talking
Okay.
about the bathroom sequence before that intimate moment between the two characters. And I'm not even like the biggest fan of like sex scenes in a movie, but the way they do it, it's really creative. And it creates this atmosphere around the whole sequence, and something about it just really stuck with me and still sticks with me. But yeah, so I kind of want to split the awards because, I mean, how can you not just give it to 1917? But I'll mention Dreamland. It's an honorable mention, but I think my golden bucket of popcorn goes to 1917 as well.
Okay.
For sure.
Do you got any other honorable mentions on that list?
In terms of shot, I guess there was another one I thought of putting on here, and it's not anything complex. It's not anything, visually that's intricate or anything like that. It's just, it punches you in the gut, and that's from Jojo Rabbit, the shot of Scarlett Johansson, her feet dangling after her character's been hanged. That one just is very striking.
Yeah, I thought about that scene specifically,
Yeah.
but then I didn't. I thought that was mainly just like an emotional bomb. I didn't think there was anything too crazy about
Right.
technical side, right?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, this one I kind of had a technical standpoint in mind. So yeah,
Okay.
that's what I got for that.
So we're unanimous on that one too.
Yeah, I think we're. It's hard not to be, I think, with that film.
So what have we? Hold on, let's do a little recap. What have we been unanimous on?
All right, so we got best choreographed fight, Extraction.
Yeah.
Best piss pants moment or film, Borat.
Yeah.
And we have
Oh, we're different on biggest letdown.
different on biggest letdown. We're different on sharpest cheese.
Okay.
Satirical moment. I think we're also
Yeah,
unanimous.
Yeah.
Irresistible.
And best shot, we have the same movie, different scenes.
Different scenes. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Moving along.
Moving along.
What do you got?
So I only have 2 left,
All right.
and we have a theme on our show of hot chicks kicking ass.
Yes, we do.
I love those movies. I think everybody loves those movies. So let's go ahead and do best hot chick kicking ass.
All right.
This is
Let me ask you
definitely the
before you
most
get into this one.
robust.
Film, person, moment.
So the way I viewed this one was the actress.
Okay.
And that being said, when I said this is the most robust category, many of the actresses have multiple movies. So you can take that however you want. If you do think there is one chick that kicked ass better in one movie, or you can do kind of like a year achievement award. So there's a bit of a hedged bets for some of the chicks that have 2.
All right. Oh, yes. Okay, my turn. I was like waiting because I want to hear what your movie is.
I haven't picked mine yet.
You haven't picked yours yet. Okay. So, best hot chick kicking ass. I took it from the standpoint of a movie,
Okay.
but I think I could easily give it to the same person in this movie. I'm talking about Atomic Blonde. Atomic Blonde, regardless of hot chick kicking ass, it's a good movie. It's entertaining. But the fact that Charlize Theron's in it and her performance, her physicality, she's extremely hot. And the decade it takes place in the 80s with like the music video vibe and feel, the awesome neon lighting and the blue tint to the whole picture. It's like a graphic novel.
Yeah.
For me, I absolutely love that movie. And you hadn't seen it, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so that was the first for you. So it was really fun to do and see your reaction on the podcast. So for me, best hot chick kicking ass goes to Charlize Theron and Atomic Blonde. But I do have some honorable mentions. We've done a lot of these films.
Tried to do one a month.
Yeah. So I threw in Ava with Jessica Chastain. It was another good film. Had some cool fight sequences. Maybe not up on the same level as anything that Charlize was in. But still, I love Jessica Chastain. I love her performance in anything she's in. So that got an honorable mention from me. Got to mention my girl Gal Gadot. Even though the choreographed fighting in those films isn't up on the same level as the other ones, like I said, she's become Wonder Woman for a generation of people. And I love her as an actress. So she gets some love too. And I'll mention Tomarus. I know there's 3 different actresses that play Tomarus in that film, but the overall story of that character I thought was pretty epic and cool.
Yeah.
So I'll give a shout out to Tomarus as well.
All right. Well, on my list, we got Gal. She's got 2 movies, both the Wonder Womans.
Yeah.
And she's definitely, I'd say she's definitely the best superhero
Oh, cool.
of a hot chick kicking ass. I got Margot on here, Margot Robbie, for Birds of Prey and Dreamland.
Yep.
Birds of Prey, there was some kind of cool action, but some of it was, I don't know, pretty fantastical, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I have her for Dreamland, too, because she does kick a little bit of ass in that movie. More like attitude than straight physical. I got Sasha Luce on here from Anna.
Yeah.
Because there's like 3 major fight scenes in that movie, and I liked all of them. I got Kristen Stewart on here for Underwater, because she's kicking the weird alien monster.
That's a good one.
And I got her on here. And I got Jessica Chastain on. And she has a new movie, another hot chick kicking ass movie that's coming out like this month, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I saw a preview for it for Ava. And she's good in that. I want to see her kind of get more movies under her belt in this genre, because I think she fits it well. But the winner, of course, is Charlize for Atomic Blonde specifically. But she also is great in Old Guard and kicks a lot of ass in that movie too. And I really kind of like the lure of her character in Old Guard. And hopefully they make another one of those.
I think that was one of Netflix's biggest releases this year.
Yeah, but she gets the golden bong for Atomic Blonde. I hope they make another one of those.
Oh man, yeah.
She's the queen of the hot chicks kicking ass in the Buff and Blazer 2020 awards.
For sure. That is one film I have the highest hopes for, is a sequel to Atomic Blonde. And we've heard some like rumors that Netflix is getting involved with that. And if they could get some Sam Hargrave action on there, even directorially, oh man, we'll cover it again.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
that
right.
movie's great.
So there's another unanimous one. It's hard not to be, right, with these films?
Well, so you got to make the objective choice.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's see, I got 2 left. All right, let's go with this category I came up with, most pleasant surprise.
Okay.
So what I had in mind with that category is maybe a film that on paper you were like, all right, we'll do it for the podcast. But then you came out and you're like, I wasn't expecting to like it that much. Something like that, along those lines.
All right.
What
So
do you got?
I have 3 on my list.
Okay.
2 of them are movies, and 1 is a performance.
Oh, all right.
In terms of pleasant surprise. So I'll just give she's not going to get the award, but Maria Bakalova in Borat.
Okay, cool.
She's awesome, and she really blew me away. There's not a lot of people that can do what Sasha does, right? Like live in that fully improv world and get that hack, right? She totally got the hack too. And can't go on without mentioning her. She was great in that movie. I have an American Pickle on here because that movie really surprised me. I expected it to be ridiculously stupid in terms of, because the premise is so ridiculous, but it was so well made and had, you know, the right messages and was really funny. And I have that on here. But my most pleasant surprise is because of some gore. I got to tell you, A Good Woman is hard to find. I didn't expect that movie to be that great, and I loved it, and the freaking dismemberment scene is epic.
Yeah.
I love that. It's so good, and that's what's getting the golden bong from me.
Oh, man. We were this close to having another unanimous one.
Okay. Okay.
So I was torn between 2 movies in this category, and I chose to go one way. So I'll start off with A Good Woman's Hard to Find, because like you, I love Sarah Bolger. I'm familiar with some of her work, and she's really the main reason I chose the film. I didn't have real high expectations for it, though. And after it was done, I was like, man, that's a really good film. Really well made.
Yeah.
And well acted. So I love that that's your pick for that category. But I think for me, the most pleasant surprise was Honey Boy.
Ah.
So with Honey Boy, like, I think Shia LaBeouf is a good actor. He's not one of my favorite actors, and I don't go out to see movies that he's in. They don't really come out at me as like something I have to see. I know the movie had some hype behind it, but I wasn't expecting anything from it. I knew it was like based on his life, sort of, kind of an semi-autobiographical film. And that film completely caught me off guard. I thought it was so well made. I thought it was touching. I thought the direction was great from Alma Harrell. And LaBeouf's performance and his writing really took me back. And I was completely blown away by it. So I had to put that in there. And then also another one is Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Although I probably won't ever go back and rewatch that because I can't. It'll make me shit my pants.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't. The word pleasant is kind of what turned me off from Uncut Gems in the category of pleasant surprise,
Good
because
point.
there's not
Good
much
point.
pleasant about watching that movie. It's fucking stressful. It's a really good movie, but it's stressful.
Great point. I wasn't expecting the movie to be that good,
Yeah.
and it's fantastic. But yeah, I think you nailed it on the head right there. It's not pleasant at all.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give my golden bucket of popcorn though to Honey Boy.
Okay.
Although Shia again is in some hot water, but I'm giving it to the movie. I'm giving fucking Shia, man. Just do your acting thing, bro. Like,
I don't even know what he's into now, and I don't want to hear it. I don't care.
yeah. So, Honey Boy, he gets a golden bucket from me. But I love your Good Woman is hard to find. It's a
Yeah,
great one.
that scene blew me away.
That's a great one.
So good.
All right.
All right, so we are down to 2, right?
Yep, we're down to 2.
Okay, so my last one, most original storytelling.
All right.
And I thought this up because so many of the movies we see are the same goddamn story.
Right.
So if it's like a straight hero story, it ain't making in this list. If
Okay.
it's a romance, cheesy romance, it ain't making this list.
All right.
In my eyes.
Gotcha.
But yeah, what you got?
All right, so it took me a little bit to come up with a film for this because when I think of storytelling, I think of 2 things, right? I think of the story itself, like what is the story you're telling, but also I think of how you tell it. So how do you turn it into a film and make it interesting? So at first I thought I had a clear-cut winner here, but then when I realized that we were including our whole back catalog, it changed it a bit, but I think I'll mention it, my original answer first, though. And it was, I'm thinking of ending things.
Okay.
And not so much the story itself, but the way that story was told.
Yeah.
Completely original, completely unique and creative, and a total mindfuck, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it got like a straight 5 across the board from us. It wasn't that kind of movie, but I think the more and more we talked about it, the more I started to really appreciate it. So that was my initial award for this film. But I think I have to go with Uncut Gems.
Okay.
So the story itself, when you tell a story about a guy that gets caught up in a diamond deal that involves like one of the most famous athletes on the planet, but the way you tell that story and make it so stressful,
Yeah.
and weave in all of the family aspect to that story and the guy's entire life and where it leaves you at the end, I think it's safe to say that movie leaves you with a feeling, and it's not a good one. And the way that it was so impactful on that level, I had to give most original storytelling to Uncut Gems because I had no idea where it was going to go, and where it ended up was just blew me away. And
Yeah.
the way they did it totally impacted me. So I'll give it to Uncut Gems. It gets the golden bucket of popcorn. And my original award was I'm Thinking of Ending Things. And then I'll also mention Parasite.
Okay.
Because Parasite, I think, deserves to be on there. That story, again, is another completely unique story. And it knocks you off your feet again. So I guess it's, for me, it was those movies that knock you off your feet almost. Maybe not so much I'm Thinking of Ending Things, but films that just caught me off guard by the end and left me almost like speechless.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll go with that. Uncut
Okay.
Gems.
Well, those 3 are on my list as well. I have a big list for this one because I wanted to acknowledge some of the movies that aren't just following the standard blueprint.
Yeah.
So this one, it can't win because it's not original because it's 50 years old or something, but One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's
Okay.
like 40-something years old. I really enjoyed just that was a very different way of storytelling.
Yeah.
I'm Thinking of Ending Things was really a totally different way of storytelling, so I have that on there as well.
Okay.
Uncut Gems, what I liked about it was like this downward arc. The whole movie just went down and got darker and darker and darker and darker and never came back. And I really appreciate the cojones of putting that kind of movie out there, right? I got Jojo Rabbit on here because of the perspective shift, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was genius to tell that story, that horrible of a story, through the eyes of a kid and make it really funny, but with the message still on point.
Yeah.
I got to put Tenet on here just because of the time rabble. And even though that is kind of a hero story, but not really. But I got to acknowledge the time shift. It's just a different way of storytelling. That's kind of what I'm getting at. But the winner is Parasite.
All right.
When the big twist of that movie gets revealed and it just completely takes off in a different direction, I just loved it. Yeah, that gets the golden bong for most original storytelling for sure.
Yeah, it's hard not to. I mean, all of those films we mentioned, it's hard not to have them on there. Where I got caught up a little bit was like, I'm thinking of Ending Things is based on a novel.
Okay.
So that's why I mentioned it's almost the way you lay out the novel for a film. That's why I put that in there.
Yeah.
So I think it's still fair. Same thing with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I love it. All right, I got, what do we got here? One last one from me.
Yep. Last one.
Last one before we get into our big serious category. More or less.
Two. We have
Two of
two
them?
serious categories.
All right. So let's go with the biggest heart.
Biggest
this one is
heart.
a little open-ended, but I think we both get the gist of it.
Yeah, it's the most, ESPN weekend TV
Yeah, there you go.
when there's no sports on
There you
type
go.
of show. Biggest heart. So I got 3 on my list here.
All right.
I have Hunt for the Wilder People
Nice.
because that movie is a very kind of heartwarming story. I got Sonic on here because I never thought they could make me care about a totally digital character. And I love Sonic so much. I have so much nostalgia and connection to Sega being a 90s kid, But I
Sure.
got to give it to Peanut Butter Falcon.
Oh, nice one.
Yeah, I got to give the biggest heart to that. Even though that story is basically Odyssey or whatever, I got to give it to that
Yeah.
because that movie is really touching. And it has some, one of the best kind of fake outs at the end of the movie.
Oh, I get you.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. So that wins biggest. They get the golden bong for biggest heart. Peanut Butter Falcon.
That's a beautiful one. That one was my runner-up. Because I
Okay.
agree with you. It has a huge heart, and I adore that movie. For me, though, biggest heart goes to a film that I think, as soon as I came up with a category, I had this movie in mind, but it goes to Jojo Rabbit.
Okay.
And for the reasons you said earlier in another category, to tell that story from the perspective of a child, that's Taika Waititi in a nutshell. The guy is like a huge kid, and he tells these really touching, heartwarming stories. And the fact that you were able to do that with this really weighty, serious topic of like Nazi Germany and just diving into the thick of that, but where the story ends is just completely sweet, and it just makes you feel better about humanity. And that's why I give the golden bucket of popcorn to Jojo Rabbit. It's like Peanut Butter Falcon. They're both filled with heart, and they both have like this really awesome kind of message going on. And they just both of those movies make you feel better about yourself at the end. It just makes you feel better about people in general.
Yeah.
So those are.
Any other honorable mentions in that category?
Oh, and then of course I put Sonic.
Yeah. Fucking A, Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic was one of my favorite films of the year. I was not expecting to like that movie as much as I did.
Right?
It was really weird.
I
was
guess
like-
I could have included that on Most Pleasant Surprise too.
Yeah, same. I just felt it was like, oh, this is Sega trying to get into the animated world, like in film. And then I came out and it was just like, man, that was such a nice film. For a long time, I was like totally digging the soundtrack of that movie, and I even got a shirt. I was totally invested in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well, they're gonna make another one.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty well received if they're doing a sequel. So I
Oh, it
think
was-
generally people our age probably were into that movie for the
Yeah.
nostalgia, but it's a good one. So yeah, I had to put Sonic on there. So that leaves us with the final 2 categories. The big kahuna categories of the show. I guess we'll start off with our favorite film.
Yeah, because this is the whole catalog.
This is the whole catalog. And then we'll do a bonus one at the very end. Let's go with favorite film of the entire year's catalog of the Buff and the Blazer 2020.
All
We'll
right,
start
so
with you, El Toddo.
with this category, I kind of look at favorite in a couple of different ways. The one that made me feel the best, and the one that I think I'm going to watch the most for the rest of my life.
All right.
Like the one I feel like I can watch multiple times. And so I got a big list on this one. I'm just going to run down all of it.
Okay.
I got Tenet,
Uh-huh.
I got 1917, Parasite, Jojo Rabbit, Atomic Blonde, Borat, Sonic, Uncut Gems, and Extraction.
Oh, shit.
So these are all movies that I will definitely be watching again.
Uh-huh.
Maybe not Uncut Gems, to be honest. So that one's definitely off. And I really enjoyed all of these movies. I don't know how much I'll watch Borat again.
Yeah.
Because that was really timely.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I want to think about that time very much. So, and then the three bangers at the beginning of the year, those are like just total classics. 1917, Parasite, and Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
I will watch all of those again, but I don't know if they gave me the same enjoyment as The Winner.
All right.
But, and I will say, Tenet, I want to watch it again to see if I can figure out more or if I'm more confused after a second time. But it is so goddamn long that I don't think I'll be watching it that many times throughout my life.
Best of luck to you, bro.
Yeah. So the winner is Atomic Blonde, man.
Nice.
I absolutely loved that movie.
Oh, sweet.
I absolutely loved that movie. And it's on my top 5 of all time.
Oh, sweet.
Like, I'll be watching that movie a bunch. The soundtrack is so good. It's my favorite genre by far. And the action is so good in that and so gritty.
That was the first time you watched it, right, for the podcast?
Yeah.
Sweet.
And I'll definitely be watching Sonic again. But that's more of like a little kid.
Yeah.
A little kid thing, you know?
That's awesome.
What about you?
Oh, all right. I love all those films, by the way, that you listed. They're all great. For me, it came down to 2 films. And so I guess our bonus category, which we'll leave at the end, is going to be our favorite film of 2020.
Yeah.
So when I take into account the entire catalog that we've done for this year, I'm changing it up. So favorite film for me, hands down, was not even a question, and it's going to go to Jojo Rabbit. I adore that movie. And I'll watch it over and over again. I saw it at a screening in LA, and Taika was there, and I got to hear him talk about it, and I loved it from the first time I saw it. It's good for all the reasons I love Taika Waititi. It has all the heart, and it's impactful, and it has a story that says something. It's not just, a bunch of nonsense. And I love films that they have something important to say. They're fun. They have a lot of heart, and they're something you can come back to and watch again. And I think that's Jojo Rabbit. So for me, the golden bucket goes to Jojo Rabbit. I love that movie. I love all the performances, and I've already seen it probably 6 or 7 times, and I'll watch it again.
Damn.
So I love how you specified what made a favorite film for you. So it definitely has rewatch value for sure.
Yeah.
And I love that you tried to put Uncut Gems on your list.
I tried. We have to acknowledge how good it is, but you can't watch that.
It's so good.
You'll have a heart attack if you watch it more than a few times.
I don't know what it is. It's just it stresses you out. All right. So let's get into the meat of this whole show.
Yeah, so this is the most specific in terms of qualifications movie.
All right.
Best movie. It has to have come out in 2020. So all the bangers that we did at the beginning of the year that were in the Oscars last year, none of that is eligible for this category.
Okay. All right.
So you go first on this one. My list is definitely shorter than favorite.
Okay. Okay. So, best film of 2020 for me. And it's funny because we've given out maybe 3 films of 5 on the whole podcast?
I think I've given out like 5 or 6.
All right. I don't remember specifically what movies got the 5s, but I'll preface by saying this film didn't get a 5 from either of us. But I think for 2020, it was clearly the best film made. And that goes to I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
Okay.
For me. Like I said, it was one of those films where I really had to think hard as I was watching the film, what's going on here? But having said that, The difference between this movie and Tenet is that at least you can figure that out.
Okay.
It's not as easy as a normal everyday summer blockbuster film, but after a little bit of thought and going through the moments, you're able to kind of put pieces together where you understand what's going on. And Charlie Kaufman, the films he makes are just completely like in the headspace of the characters, and they're very deep. And I thought the story he was telling, while it was a simple story, he did it in a way that was really complex and original. And the filmmaking, I thought, was spectacular in this movie. Like some of the shots,
Okay.
the sequences, some really trippy ones. But overall, I thought the quality of this film was something deserving of an award like this. So I'm going to give my golden bucket for the best film of 2020 to I'm Thinking of Ending Things.
That's interesting. It's not even on my list.
Okay, cool.
Not that I'm talking it down, but
Yeah.
with this category, I tried to be as technical as I am in my weekly ratings.
Yeah, okay.
You know, like the most data driven,
Right.
and then had to take in like the kind of umami factor, right?
Okay.
But what I have on here, I'll give my whole list. I have Tenet, just for how big it is and how solid it is all the way around. I have Dreamland, same deal. Technical, solid, insane acting, cool story, wicked, dust storm action, cool time period. I have Borat because of the hack, right? It's like super umami points because of the real world hack that he has, and how important it was to come out at the time that it did.
Yeah.
I have Extraction on here for like pure technical awesomeness and the fact that they filmed in India or Bangladesh or something.
Yeah, I think it was Bangladesh.
A lot of that on location stuff I want to acknowledge. I have Irresistible on here for the kind of satire importance of timeliness, and it's funny as hell, solid acting all the way around, really good story. And I have Greyhound on here because it was big and it was meant to be really big, and I feel like it got sold pretty short.
Yeah.
For coming out on Apple TV Plus or whatever. Kind of like Tenet, right? Like if those movies were in big theaters, they probably would have way more of an impact.
Mm-hmm.
But the winner is Dreamland.
All right.
For best movie of 2020. Even though the thing was on, it was made in 2019 or whatever. It didn't come out for us until like recently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the acting in that movie is awesome all the way around. The story is very cool. It's like a kick in the nuts to Cinderella. It kicks the romance in the nuts. I love that. It's a really cool time period. It's got a pretty consequential ending and some cool shots, some of those barn shots in the dust storm. I felt like all the way around. I didn't give it I think I did give it a 5. I think Borat and Dreamland are the two that I gave 5s to.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then a lot of the other ones were older movies.
All right. I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my golden bong for best movie 2020.
Cool, and then I'll just mention, too, because I forgot to go through my honorable mentions. I had Dreamland on there and Greyhound and Borat. But I'm also going to put Palm Springs on there for honorable mention.
I was looking around at like some Oscar buzz, and I saw Palm Springs on there.
Really?
And I was kind of baffled.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's weird. But yeah, I guess Palm Springs, it's a weird film because it's a comedy. It's a hard comedy, but it's dealing with kind of an oddly heavy topic, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the way it does it, it's just really enjoyable. And yeah, it's hard to explain, but the craftsmanship of that movie and also the performances for a comedy, I think Palm Springs is, I don't know, that one kind of shocked me too. I guess I should have included that in the most pleasant surprise.
If they would have had one shot of Palm Springs, really, like the valley and the mountain.
Actual Palm Springs.
Yes. Then I would have put them in because everything you said is true. But you can't call a movie fucking Palm Springs and not show the Coachella Valley. Like it's one of the most epic landscapes in Southern California. You have to show it.
All right, fair. All right, let's go to our bonus. You're a stickler, man, for those locations and your
Dude.
cardinal directions. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Let's talk about, this is our bonus category. We'll do favorite film of 2020 because we did favorite film overall.
Yes.
So let's go with favorite film of 2020, and we'll start with you.
Okay, so this one I bring back when I think of favorite, the one that I'm going to watch the most.
Okay.
And so Borat, I've already mentioned I don't want to watch again just because of the time. Same with Irresistible. I don't want to be reminded of all the political rabble that's been going on. You know, like I want it all to fucking go away.
Yeah.
Dreamland, I liked it a lot, but I don't feel like it's a need to watch it a bunch
Okay.
type of movie. Tenet, I feel like I need to watch it a few times, but won't be able to watch it more than maybe once more or twice more just because of how complex it is. So I'm going to go with Extraction.
Nice. Okay.
I feel like I will watch that movie the most again.
Sweet.
What about you?
That's a good one. Did we talk about this before we started? Well, anyways, I've already seen this movie like 3 or 4 times, and I love it. I love it so much, and that for me, it's Dreamland.
Okay.
So Dreamland is my favorite of 2020. Margot Robbie, I think this is my favorite Margot Robbie film too.
Okay.
I love her performance in this movie, and the time period, it's interesting. I like how they weaved this story into that time period. It has like the Bonnie and Clyde element, but I loved how they filmed the relationship between those two characters and where they take it. And I love that they don't pull any punches on where it ends. So yeah, it's a film I've already watched several times, and I'll watch it again. And it's my favorite Margot Robbie film, I think, Dreamland.
Nice.
So favorite of 2020.
Nice.
But yeah, that was a fun show, man. That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the list of movies that are getting Oscar buzz right now. We haven't seen barely any of them, so
Yeah.
don't compare our list to any of the other ones.
Now, this is strictly a Buff and the Blazer take on 2020 films. But to be fair, a lot of those films haven't been released, right?
Yeah, a bunch on the list haven't. We're going to do this new Hanks fella this coming next week.
Yeah.
News of the World.
Yep, we'll do that one.
And then we got some cool-looking ones. Promising Young Woman.
We'll definitely do that one. That one's been
Hot
getting
Chick
a lot of
Kicking
buzz.
Ass.
For sure. I mean, if the studios want us to review these films, I mean, we can give you an address and send us a screener. We'll gladly do it.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
But unfortunately, we don't get screeners.
Don't think the Golden Bong carries that much weight, buddy.
But it can. It can. It's so much potential there.
It was a good first year of the podcast, man.
It was. And we got to say thanks to all the listeners out there that stuck with us and had a good time. We really enjoy doing these shows, and we'll continue doing them. And I feel like we're really starting to get into a groove here with our reviews and talking about these films, and it's just a lot of fun, and we really enjoy doing it.
Hopefully improving.
Yeah, hopefully in the audio department as well. I think we've noticed a huge uptick in the audio quality. We'll see what 2021 brings, but 2020 was just an absolute. Let's just light it on fire.
Fuck off 2020.
Yeah. Light it on fire.
Cheers 2020, 21. Whoa, too many 20s. Too many beers this early in the day, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So that was the award show 2020 from the Buff and the Blazer podcast. Thank you so much, guys. And here's to 2021, rolling in a new year, and we'll keep on trucking on the podcast. So have a good one, everybody. Enjoy the new year, and we will catch you on the next episode.
Peace.